Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Barbara Aboagye, and in today's episode, I have with me Mamaya. Mamaya is currently in Canada as a permanent resident. In our first video, she shared with us how she was able to move from Ghana all the way to Canada, and through that, you could also start the whole process and join her. So, in the second video, she also told us the total cost involved in this endeavor, and this will be the last episode for this series. And in this video, she's going to share with us like you've entered into the pool, like you've gotten an invitation to apply as a permanent resident. What does this involve and what do you need to do? So without wasting much time, Mamaya, could you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me here. My name is Mamea and I'm a Ghanaian who has moved to Canada as a permanent resident. If you've watched the previous videos, you understand why Barbara is laughing.
Yeah, because nowadays she's claiming Canada. Like you need 3 more years to claim, but nowadays she's like, I come from Canada, so like she can see into the future, so it's normal.
Yes, I'm speaking into the future. I'm Canadian. Sorry, I'm Ghanaian, but I'm currently a permanent resident in Canada, which means that I can live, study, or work in Canada indefinitely. Basically, that is it. And as you are watching this video, I have a feeling that you are interested in this, and I hope you get to learn a lot from this experience and also make the move that you desire to make.
Okay. Thank you. Are you married?
No, I'm not. I'm single.
Are you looking for a husband? I mean, when you marry, your husband will get a permanent residence
Yeah,
card.
that's true. When I get married, my husband would also get the permanent residence. So
So are you on the market? So if anybody's interested, can they reach out?
yeah, now my value is really high because
Yeah,
you get the perk of being a Canadian permanent resident as well. So gentlemen, shoot your shots.
yeah. But when they are shooting, they should come all in.
Yes, they should come up because now the value is high. Canadian permanent residence has just made my value skyrocket.
I feel you. Okay, so in this video, so let's say you've entered into the pool and now you were lucky and you've gotten an invitation to apply. How did you feel when you got the invitation to apply? And
So let me start from the genesis. In my previous video, I was saying that a lot of people didn't really know about this, but when I was submitting my documents, I met someone who was going through this. When I was doing my IELTS, I met someone going through this process as well. So we linked up because we're both doing this. So I'm not somebody who's always following the news because it was scaring me when I was seeing the scores that were being called. I really felt hopeless. So I was there one evening on 29th March. I was at home. I was in Kumasi with my parents. And then I got a call from this friend. Mommy, I check your phone. Mommy, I check your phone. I was like, what is happening? Because this guy doesn't call me unless it's with Canadian things. Like
okay,
we've been encouraging ourselves with this
yeah.
thing that we hope the score goes down. Mommy, I check your phone. Mommy, I check your phone. I went to check my phone and then he had sent me a screenshot that they had done a draw that day and then the score was 481. This was 29th March. Oh my, I wept. I was
Mama wept.
yes, it should be the vibe. I wept. I was crying. So my mom came inside. She asked, "What's going on?" Mind you, my parents didn't know I was doing this thing, so I now had to start the whole story that I'd been doing this for about 2 months now, and now I've gotten an invitation to apply for permanent residence. No, so even at that time, I had not gotten the letter yet.
Okay.
They did the draw around 6 p.m. Ghana time. I couldn't sleep. I was just waiting for this letter. So it came almost at midnight that I got
On
my
that same
letter.
day.
Yes, on that same day. I was fortunate enough. I was able to go to bed without having to think about whether I got an invitation to apply or not. Fortunately, with the tie breaking rule, I was 2 days ahead of the tie breaking rule that they had. So I got an invitation to apply with a long letter telling you that these are the circumstances that you told us you had, and these are the scores based on the circumstances. So if you feel like your circumstances have changed and that will alter your score, you have to decline the offer and have to enter the pool. And I was like, my circumstances haven't changed. I'm still the same. My score is still the same. I am accepting this thing and I'm going to submit my documents. So basically, it starts with a letter from IRCC
Did
inviting you.
your friend also get it or no?
Unfortunately, he didn't.
No. Where is he
Unfortunately,
now? Is he still in Ghana or?
yes, he's still in Ghana, and I'm hoping that he gets an invitation. He's in the healthcare sector,
Okay,
so I'm
that's good.
hoping he gets an
And
invitation
what's
to
it called?
478.
For
It's
the
the
healthcare sector.
IELTS.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the IELTS. That's I think I was advising him to write again, but he
But
feels
for
like
the
it's.
health sector, if it's 478, I think the draw they did, or I think, okay, well, that's not the purpose of this.
Yes, we will talk about that
Yeah,
one
later.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not everybody in the health sector they are calling. That's
Okay,
yeah.
so he's not in demand.
Yes, they are
Okay.
calling pharmacy assistants and not pharmacists. I don't really understand that.
Okay.
Canada is
Okay.
so unpredictable.
Okay. So now it
Okay.
makes sense. Okay.
Yes. Yes. So moving on, you start by getting the letter, and now you have to prepare your documents. You have 60 days from the time that you get your letter to submit your documents. To submit your documents. So now I had to look at ways to get my medicals done, my police certificate especially, because no shade to Ghana, but Ghana Police Service can stress you. They can stress you. So I had to get going with that as soon as possible. I started and my UK police certificate as well because I'd lived in the UK for 6 months, for more
Okay.
than 6 months, for years. So I had to show my police certificate for the UK as well. So that one I just did it online and it was very smooth. 2 weeks I got it.
Did you have to pay
Um,
for that?
yes, I paid 55 British 55 pounds for that. Yes. Yeah, all of a sudden I had to be gathering money. Anyway. And then
And before that, did you know the document? Did they tell you exactly the documents you needed to submit?
oh yes, so now
Okay.
you log. I should have mentioned that. So when you get the invitation to apply, now you enter into your profile. There's a document checklist for you, and they've categorized it. So if it's education, they'll tell you that they need your transcripts. If it's work experience, they'll tell you that they need your reference letters. There's a
So for the
passport
education, is
picture.
the transcript they request for the WS evaluation?
They actually requested for transcripts, but I added my WES and I added my IELTS as well. I
Okay.
watched the video on YouTube and then so they will request for your transcripts and your set and your transcripts and your certificates,
Okay.
but it doesn't hurt to give them more information. So
Yeah.
I added my because there was no section for your IELTS, your language requirements, and your credential evaluation. So I gave it to them as well. Like
Yeah,
take
but
it.
the reason why there was no is because when you do all these things, those bodies send it directly to them. So that's
Exactly.
why. So they did
Yes.
have it. So
Exactly. They already have it because when you're entering the pool, you put in your IELTS number and your credential evaluation number so they can go and verify. They don't really need it, but the Ghanaian in me just didn't want anything to go wrong. I had to put everything in. So I had my medicals done. Medicals, you don't just do it anywhere. They have certain clinics that you go to. I did mine at Akai House Clinic in Accra. I had to go to Accra, get my medicals done. And the police certificates too.
how do you know the clinics you have to go to?
It's all on there. It's all over there. It's all on the IRCC website as well. So every information that you need will be provided for you there. There's a link that shows you. You put in the country that you are in, and then it gives you a list of the clinics that you can go to have it done.
Okay.
Yes. So I'd advise that you call the clinic. There are usually phone numbers as well. So you call the clinic and book an appointment so that you don't have to wait for too long. And they tell you what you need to
Okay.
bring. You don't want to go there unprepared. You need your passport and then some passport pictures, which they take the passport pictures at the clinic. So
Okay.
you should be okay. So medicals, police certificates, and almighty proof of funds. Almighty proof of funds. Fortunately for me, when I got serious about this thing, I started building my proof of funds. So every month when I get money, I was putting some money inside because one thing you don't want to do is just put in a lump sum of money. Yeah, you don't want to put in a lump sum. So it's good to be. I had been building my proof of funds for about 6 months.
Okay.
As at the time, honestly, I wasn't expecting an ITE that early. So as at the time I got my invitation to apply, my proof of funds weren't ready.
Mm.
But with the help of some friends, and yes, and I had some money somewhere. I had to just
Bring
I
it all
used
at
that
one place.
exactly. So now I had to liquidate some small assets and then put it in
Big
the
women words. Create some small assets. I want to be like you when I grow up.
oh please, I want to be like you instead. So that's I had to get a proof of funds ready. Proof of funds wasn't going to stop me. Yes. So I know that some people use the gift deed. Some people get a gift deed from maybe a family member. So you could use that as well. Yeah, but don't let proof of funds stop you.
Okay. When you
Just
say what is a gift deed?
gift deed. I know it's to be honest, I don't know much about it, but the little I've heard about it is it's a declaration that this person is giving you a gift, like a money gift, right? To use as your proof of funds. So I don't really know if you have to show ties to the person, that maybe you are related to the person. I don't really know much about that, but it's just a gift showing that the person is not going to take the money back. The person is willingly giving you that money as your funds. Okay, and that money is accessible to you. Yeah, I don't know if you know much about
Okay,
the
so
process. So
let's talk a bit about the proof of funds. Did you create a separate account for that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So I did. I didn't use my salary account or anything. I created a pound account because as at the time I was doing this, unfortunately, the CD was very unstable. So I knew that if I were sticking to the CD, I might have a problem. So I created a pound account and was converting my money into pounds and putting it into that account. So I've been building it for about 6 months. Yes. So, well, that's a suggestion to people whose national currency is not doing so well. They could do that. Use a currency that's more stable, so that they don't have a problem when the conversion is being done.
And why did you decide to? I don't know if you by in the previous video you talked about like decided to save in pounds. Why in pounds and not Canadian dollars? Is there any special reason?
Yes, it's so difficult to get Canadian dollars in Ghana.
I know, right?
It
It's
was
like
so difficult.
it's a special society.
Yes, it was so difficult. And initially, I was going to use the dollar, but a friend got some fake dollars at a point. I
Okay.
think the dollar is so easy to get um, um, counterfeit. So I was really scared. My hard earned money, the proof of funds is not small. My hard earned money to get it in fake currency was, yeah. So I decided to go with the pound because it looked like the pound it wasn't so in demand. So getting a fake was rare.
Okay.
Yes, and I had a legitimate source, so I knew I could always go back when I
Okay.
had a challenge. So
Okay.
that's why I chose a pound. It wasn't for any special reason.
Okay. And to talk a bit about the proof of funds, this proof of funds is money that is available to you. So you
Yes,
can't the whatever account you show, it must be in your name. Not like you
yes,
are going to school and your father will sponsor you. No, 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 no. There
yes.
should be money. It should be physical cash. It can't be a property. It should be physical cash in an account in your name. So I'm going to show you the IRCC website. As I initially said, to know more about everything we see, just go to Google, type IRCC Express Entry and whatever you're looking for. So this time I'm looking for proof of funds. So in Google, I type IRCC Express Entry Proof of Funds, and I'm going to show you what comes up. So the money, what we accept as proof, your funds must be available to you both when you apply and we issue you a permanent residence. You must prove to us that you can legally access the money here when you arrive. For example, this means you can't use equity on real property as proof of settlement. So you can't be like you have a house that you are going to sell and you're no, 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 no. It should be physical cash. And you can't borrow this money from another person. So this money, if another person is given to you, the person is given to you as a gift. So the money is being given to you that this money will be for you. You must be able to use this money to pay. So if your spouse is coming with you, you can count money you have together in a joint account. So if maybe I'm married and I'm coming with my husband's money and my money can be counted together to account for the proof of funds because the two of you are family. You may be able to count money and account under your spouse's name only, but you must prove to have access to the money. So this is a case where your spouse is not coming with you, but you are coming. So the only person who they would accept as a proof of funds could be okay, okay, okay. No, no, no. Let me come again. So this one is in a joint account. So if you and your spouse are coming together in a joint account, so you have your name, both of you, your name in the account, you can count it as a proof of funds. Here, you may be able to come on an account under your spouse's name only, not both of you, but you must prove you have access to the money. So when it comes to proof of funds, the only person who they will accept for proof of funds could be your spouse. And for the proof, so all these things, it has to have all these details. So
Yeah.
how much money, bring as much money as this will come in. Okay, no, this is when you come. This is your declaration. So
Yeah.
that is how the proof of funds is. There should always be money that is in your name. So
Yeah.
that is counted.
Yeah. And it should be, there are some requirements. It should be an unofficial official letter here. Then it was all in that in on that page that
Yeah, it should
Barbara
be.
showed. So like she said, if you Google, you should be able to find the details on the proof of funds.
So
So
what did you tell your bank, and what letter did your bank give you as a proof of funds? Your bank was the one that gave you the proof of funds, right?
yes, yes,
Okay.
my bank is what gave me the proof of funds. So I went into my bank and told them that I needed a bank statement, and they asked me what the purpose was for. I told them it was for Canadian. It was to the Canadian government. It was for a visa I was applying to. So they did that, and it was according to the requirements. I think the banks know
That is okay.
which, yeah, they know which statements that you need for what. So you just need to consult them, but you have to cross check that
Okay.
the statement they've given you corresponds to the requirements on the page that Barbara has shared with you.
So for this, it's not the bank that will send to them. The bank will
No.
give you the letter and you upload.
So at this point, you are the one submitting all the documents yourself.
Okay.
Yes, you're the one submitting all the documents yourself. If well, the medicals, when you are done, they will transmit it to IRCC, but they send you a document stating confirming that you've done your medicals.
Okay.
And from what I've heard, I did mine in May, sorry, March, April, May, around that time. But now you have to submit your documents before IRCC tells you to do your medicals. I was reading about that. Now
Okay.
you don't submit your medicals before. IRCC will tell you later to submit your medicals. Yes. So we are done with medicals. We are done with police certificates. We are done with proof of funds.
And
Then your education to mainly they need your transcripts and your certificates. But like I said, I added my WES and IELTS, but that's not really something they require, but I just added it. And then work.
experience. Yeah.
Yes, your work experience, something that's really important. If you have former employers, now you have to go back. If you left on a bad note, then
And then when
wahala
that,
for you. Wahala for you. So I had worked in two companies that I had already stated that made up for the 3 years that I got. I mean, the 3 years that I got the maximum points for experience for. So it means that I had to get reference letters from these two companies. I couldn't say that, oh, this is my former employer. He or she's not going to give me a letter, so that is it. So I had to go back to my HR with a very innocent face, my old HR with a very innocent face. And then I told her that I was applying for something and then they needed me to have this, and that. So there are some requirements with your reference letter as well. It should be able to confirm that you've been working full time. It should state even the money that you were earning, the pay grade you were on, and most important, it should be on the company's letterhead. So you don't just go to your supervisor at work and tell him to write your reference letter. It has to be on the company letterhead. Maybe we can show you the requirements data, but and then yes, so the number of hours you work, it should be on the company letterhead, and it should state your duties. The duties are very important. They should align with the NOC that we mentioned in the previous videos. So the NOC basically categorizes all occupations. It's a Canadian system to categorize all occupations, and every duty that every occupation does is listed there. So you don't have to go and copy and paste the duties from the NOC onto your reference letter, but your reference letter should show that your duties are similar to what is in the NOC. So just to make sure that my HR was doing the right thing, I gave her a list of duties that I wanted to appear on my reference letter. I didn't lie, okay, but you just have to make sure you word it so that it fits the NOC. Anybody reading it can tell that it's clear to them as day that yes, this is the right NOC that you fit in. So I gave my HR the requirements that they required on the letter, and she prepared the reference letter for me. And my current employer as well, I had to tell them that I needed a reference letter from them. And then if you could include your pay stubs. So if you have some pay slips, fortunately I was keeping my pay slips from my old company. So I included my pay slips as well. And even my letter of confirmation. You know, when you enter a company, they'll give you a letter to
The
a
appointment
letter of
letter.
employment, yes. And when you're done with probation, a letter of confirmation as well. I added all that. I really didn't want to leave no stone unturned. I just added everything related to work to show that I was legitimately employed in these companies during this period. So that's it with the reference letters and your employment stuff. And
Was it
then,
difficult to get that letter? Did you tell them you were applying for the express entry, or you just told them you were applying for something you needed? Did you give them details?
Papa, you want me to drop some gems today? You want me to drop some anyway? So I told them I was for my former company. I told them that I was applying for a Canadian visa, but
Yeah.
my current company, I told them I needed an introductory letter for a Canadian body. I was doing an application, so I didn't give them the details.
Okay.
I just said I need a Canadian body that I was doing an application to, and
Okay.
then
So
find a way of getting it.
they don't necessarily have to address it to IRCC.
No, so mine was even addressed to whom it may concern.
Okay.
Yeah, to whom it may concern. But remember, their requirements should be on a company's letterhead. It should state that you're a full time worker. So that's even a challenge I had. My current company has a way of writing introductory letters, and they don't add maybe the number of hours you work. But I insisted that this is the requirement. The Canadian body requires that I state the number of hours I work to show that I'm a full time worker. So they made that change for me. Okay. Sometimes you have to go back and forth with them, but make sure you get the right thing done so that your visa
Yeah,
is
you froze. Okay.
executed. Yes. Yes. So I think I've talked about the main requirements. Let's see if I've left something out. I don't think I've left anything out. I've already mentioned the police certificates as well.
Yeah.
So the police certificates, you have to submit them yourself
Okay.
as
So
well.
you had to do all this thing in 60 days. How
Yes, you
long
have
did it
60
take you to
days.
submit this, and what's next afterwards?
So if it hadn't been for my Ghanaian police certificate that they really stressed me on, prepare for contingencies. Some things won't be as smooth. Okay. So it took me, I got my IT on 29th March. I submitted my documents on 9th May. So about 5 weeks. It took me about 5 weeks to submit it. So I submitted before the 60 days. You have to be very quick because anything could happen and you might not be able to make it within the 60 days. So just start as soon as possible getting your documents together.
Okay. Then what's next? So after you
And
submitted
there's a
that.
questionnaire that you fill as well.
Okay.
After you are done submitting your documents, you actually do it alongside. So you don't have to submit your documents at a go.
Okay.
When you get the document, you submit it. When you get the document, you submit it. Okay, you don't have to wait to get everything together before. You can submit it when you can submit it as and when you get the document. And
Mhm.
there's a questionnaire to fill, which you sort of confirm your circumstances again, your age, your family. Even in that, even in that questionnaire, they ask about your nuclear family, as
Okay.
in your parents and your siblings, not necessarily family that you are coming with, like your
Okay.
dependents, but they ask all that. And where you've been in the last 10 years, you have to give them, if there was a time that you were even unemployed, you have to state it. It's a strict 10-year period, like what you were doing over the 10-year period, where you were and all that. You have to state that. So when you are done with the submission of your document, when you're done with your documents, uploading your documents and uploading your documents and filling the questionnaire, Now you have to pay your right of permanent residence fee and your visa application fee.
Okay.
When you are done with that, you just wait.
Okay, another waiting period.
Yeah. Express entry will teach you a lot of patience. So you have to wait again. So I did my submission on 9th May. 18th May, I got an email that I had to come and do my biometrics.
Okay.
If you are someone who has already visited Canada before and you have your biometrics are valid for 10 years, so you are good. I think you have to skip that part. But I had never been to Canada, so I had to go and submit my biometric data to them. You have to go to they have a designated institution that you have to go to, like their Ghanaian partner that you have to go to get all that done. And you have to book an appointment. You don't just walk in. All those details are in the biometric letter, and you have to send that letter as well. Read it very well. Read them very well. So in my case, unfortunately, I left something. When I went to the VFS office, they call it VFS office in Ghana. There was this, I think my booking appointment that I was supposed to include it. I didn't. Unfortunately, there was a place that I could print it around and it was very expensive. But if I had read and had not been so excited and had read, I should have known. So just make sure you do a lot of reading during this period too. So you do your biometrics and then you have to wait again. So I did my biometrics on 18th May, and then I had to wait. I was there, and every day I was checking my profile, my IRCC profile. Nothing had changed. Even though when something changes, they will send you an email, but I
Email.
couldn't wait. I was just
And
changing
at
that.
this point, are you still working or you have stopped your job, but you were still
No,
working?
no, no, I was still working. I was still working. But I was like, this has to work. This has to work. Okay. And yeah, I waited. So about 2 weeks after my biometrics, so early June, they sent me an email ready for visa. They sent me an email ready for visa. I was like, God, that one's why I cried. I cried, but at the same time I was scared because I was like, it means I don't know if this is it. I need to
Yeah.
put the visa in my hands before. So when they send you the ready for visa, it means that you have to submit your passport and then some passport pictures as well. They have certain requirements, and then there's another document that you have to fill with your height, your eye color, your weight.
Where did you get all those details from? I think you,
It's all in the ready for visa letter.
yeah, but like you also you measure yourself. You have to go to the hospital for all these things, or you
Yeah,
just get all
so I
these
have
things.
my in Ghana we have a Ghana card. Your Ghana card
Yeah.
has these details.
Okay.
So I just had to list
So
the
the
details.
Ghana card helped you to get a visa to Canada.
We- it's sort of yes, I
And
just
people
listed
tell you
it.
don't see the essence, but now you see. When the
Although,
man knew, like when he was like, let's do the Ghana, he knew all these things. Just
but
shit.
you should. It's not difficult to get your height and your weight. You should be fine, and the color of your eyes and your hair, and
How
you
did you
get
get yours? It's not difficult. How did you get yours?
you just know somebody can look at you and
How
tell.
did you get
I
yours?
got mine through the Ghana card.
Case settled.
Let's move
Let's
on.
continue.
So when you get the ready for visa email, you have to submit that letter with your passport to them. So now you give them your passports. They should take your
How
passports.
did you give it to them? You post it or
Go
you have
back to You have to go back to the VFS office.
okay.
Mind you, I'm somebody who was living in the Western region,
Region.
and all this is in Greater Accra region. I had to be moving to Greater Accra region for that. So after you submit that with your pictures and everything, then you have to wait again for them to call you to come for your passport. So your passport is with them during this period. For me, it took about 2 weeks. Yes. So on 14th July, around 14th July, I got an email that my passport was back to them. So, but at that time, my profile had been updated.
Oh, okay. So
And
you
yeah,
knew
my
it.
profile had been updated, and they said a final decision has been taken. So when I was scrolling, I was scared. I was like, "God, have they accepted it or not?" I went down, and they said it had been approved, and there was a counterfoil in my visa now
That's
with
so cool.
in my passports now. So when I was
So
going on 17th July, I was a bit confident. And the queue, oh Lord, the queue, a lot of people are moving to Canada. So you have to be quick.
all through the express entry. So I would
No,
think my
no,
next.
most of the people were going through school.
Okay,
It's
okay,
interesting the number of people who don't really know about express entry.
yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people don't know about it. So I'm glad to be doing this, to be creating the awareness on it. So yeah, so I went for my passport, and my visa was in it. It was a single entry visa which was valid for about 10 months. It
Okay,
was valid for about 10 months because they give you a year after you've done your medicals. Your visa is valid for a year after your medical. So
okay,
based on the time I had my visa, I had about 10 months left to
okay.
leave to Canada. So I got it in July, and October I flew to Canada to start.
So I have two questions. So the first one was when you were doing this, were you doing it because, as you said in the beginning, you had a friend who you met,
Yeah.
but then now he couldn't proceed. How were you getting the information to know what to do next? And the second part was how did you why so early, and how did you decide on where to move to, because Canada is huge. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the first question, how I was getting the information to do it. The IRCC really tries to give you every information in all the emails that they send you. And if you are confused about anything, you just check the the government of Canada websites. In when you have any doubts, you just check, but they give you a long list. And so if you are somebody who doesn't like reading, you might miss some details, but they give you a long list. There are always details on knowing what to do at what point and where to go to. So you have to make reading a priority. Make sure you have every detail nailed down. And if you have any doubts, you just go to their website and find something. And I know that they have ways that you can contact them as well, but I never had to do that. So you should be able to. And there are so many YouTube videos,
Mhm.
just like what we are doing right now, to help you know the process. People who have done it, who are sharing their experience. So it was mainly through that, just reading and watching on YouTube, knowing what to do. But trust me, the information that they provide is usually more than enough.
Okay.
And then deciding on the province I wanted to move to, because I'm in the energy sector, I wanted to still be in the energy sector. So I did my research and found out that Alberta was Alberta was Alberta was like the energy hub in Canada. And also their taxes were relatively low compared to other provinces. So I was like, why not?
How
Let me
much is
check.
their taxes?
It's 5%. The GST is 5%.
Okay.
Yes, so that's not bad. And the why so early? Um, why so early? Honestly, I was thinking about winter
Okay.
because
Okay.
as I wanted to come in and settle before the heavy winter started. Because mind you, my visa was going to expire. That single entry visa they gave me, it was going to expire in was it April?
Okay.
So it means from the time I got the visa to April, the weather just keeps getting worse while
Where's
I
it?
go on. Yes. And one thing I failed to tell you is when they give you your passport, they give you your confirmation of permanent residence
Okay.
sheet as well. There are two sheets. So finally, when you move to Canada, at border control, they'll ask you some questions and then you sign it off. And that is what they are going. You sign it off. They get a copy. You get a copy, and based on that, they will get you your permanent resident card.
So you get it directly at the border.
No, you don't get your permanent resident card at the border. They will let you put in an address. They said it takes up to 2 months. I haven't gotten mine yet, but I'm hoping I get it very soon.
Okay. So now, so okay, you got your passport, your visa, what next?
So you get your passport, your visa. Now you have to book your flights to travel. Basically, make sure you say your goodbyes at home, and then make sure everything is sorted out. If you have to sell your stuff, you do it. If say goodbye to family, and you have to sort out accommodation as well. If you are like me who doesn't really have anybody in Canada, you may have to live in an Airbnb for a short period while you look for other places. But even while I was back home in Ghana, I was looking for places. There are some websites that you can use to find a place, like rent faster, by and even Facebook Marketplace. But it helps to see the place for yourself before you make any commitments, because there are, even in Canada, there are scams going on. So you have
Everywhere.
to be very careful. Yeah, so you need to start finding a place to stay and getting money to book your flight. Mind you, all throughout this period, your proof of funds still have to be intact. Like before you get your permanent resident, make sure your proof of funds are intact. So even when I was leaving for Canada, even though I had taken some money out, not to do some personal things, but for my flight
That's how it is, yeah.
and to have money on me when I come, I still printed a bank statement.
Okay.
Okay, so that in case they asked me, I just had something to show them. Okay, because
Okay.
you really need to show that you can take care of yourself.
So what happened at the border and how is life like in Canada?
Okay, so at the border, you have to just do your normal custom checks. If you have some things that you have to declare, if you have money more than 10,000 Canadian dollars on you, you have to declare it. If you have certain goods, you have to declare it. You do all those declarations. If you have some things, they know that you are, because as a permanent resident, you are moving in, there might be some things that you would have to bring in later. So you have to fill a form stating those things so that they do not charge duty on those items. I
Mm.
wasn't bringing anything, so I didn't have to fill that form. So when I got to the border office, the first border agent, she asked me, "Are you immigrating today?" I said, "Yes." Then they took me to this office and they asked for my confirmation of permanent residence sheet, and then they asked for my passport as well. Then they asked me, "Have your circumstances changing? That am I married?" No. I told them no. Am I coming with some dependents? I said no. They asked you a few questions. And then she went into a back office, I don't know, probably to do some checks. I waited for about 5 minutes. She came back. "Welcome to Canada. You are now a permanent resident of Canada." So, but this after you signed your confirmation of permanent residence. So you're now a permanent resident of Canada. To make your permanent resident valid, you have to stay in Canada for 2 years out of a 5 year span. We wish you all the best in all your endeavors, and we hope everything. I just wishing me the best and
I'm
all.
sure you were just smiling, smiling. You're thinking,
I was doing it by my head. Yeah. And honestly, before I was going there, I had planned. I had so many documents. All the documents I submitted for my, I submitted
for
like
the
when I got
processing.
my IT. I had it in a file just in case they stressed me. I'll just show it to them. So my bank documents, my proof of medicals, everything. I had it just in case they asked me anything. And I think it's not a bad idea for everyone to
Yeah,
have
I
it
agree
as
with you.
well,
Yeah,
so
but you
that
never know.
you never know which
Mhm.
agent you might meet who would require you to do that. So yes, I finished, picked my luggage and moved to my residence, and I'm living my life in Canada. But one thing I forgot to mention is when you get a ready for visa email, the one where you have to submit your passport, they tell you that there are some pre-arrival services that the government of Canada has for you. The government of Canada has funded it for you. So there are some settlement agencies, SOPA, Canada Infonet. There are quite a number of them. AEIP. They show you the things that you have to do.
Okay.
They show you, they even start with you how to start building your resume and cover letter, the things you have to do when you come into Canada, getting your social insurance number if you want to get a driver's license. They tell you everything. They can even link you to a mentor in your field to help you to know how to navigate it. So, personally, before I came, I was sort of psyched. I knew that the journey wasn't going to be so easy. I knew that it was going to be cold. I knew this, and that. So, for somebody who had never been to Canada, making taking advantage of those pre-arrival services really helped me to get an idea of how living in Canada was going to be as an immigrant, so that you have a realistic approach to everything and not just coming thinking that everything will be smooth. And it helps you know what to do and where to go to avoid all these scams as well.
Okay. And how has life been like? How has the weather, the people, the culture, the food, the settling in, the jobs, how has it been like for you?
Okay, so when I arrived in October, as soon as I arrived, I booked an appointment with. So now it moved from pre-arrival services to post-arrival
Right.
services or settlement agencies. I booked an appointment with one of them, and they gave me a settlement. They gave me a settlement counselor and an unemployment counselor. So guided me to get things done in the first few days, getting my health insurance,
That's cool. Okay.
my social insurance. By the first week, getting my bank done. If I didn't have a place to stay to, they were going to give me some links to know where to get to. And then I've been working with my employment counselor with job applications, getting my LinkedIn, my networking. Yes, it hasn't been easy. It's a lot of work the first
So
few
now your
months.
LinkedIn is like top notch. Eh?
It's there, it's there, it's
Oh,
there.
good. I'm going there right now.
It's better than it was in Ghana because it looks like over here networking really helps. Yes. So based with the employment stuff, yes, I'm working really hard and I'm hoping I get something very quickly. Trust me, these settlement agencies have been very helpful. And fortunately, they've helped me with some resumes, with my resume and my cover letters. And I've had a few interviews. So I'm really hoping that something shows up quickly. I haven't given up. I know why I decided to make the move. And I had a realistic approach. I knew that it wasn't going to be easy from the start, but I know that once I land my first job, things will be better. And that's why they tell you to get your proof of funds too, so that you have some money on you while you are putting in this work. But yeah, I'm putting in all the work so that I get settled in as quickly as possible. And with the weather, when I came to Canada, the very first day, it was so sunny. I was like, oh, is this what these people are saying is cold? Canada gave me a grace period. After a week, it started snowing and I was stuck in the house. I was stuck for 5 days. I didn't even get to the front door. It was so cold and I didn't have boots or anything. So yes, it's true. Canada is cold, but for now it's been sunny and quite warm. After it snowed, now it's been sunny and quite warm. So we are good. We are preparing for winter. And yeah, it's been good. So far, the people have been really nice and very supportive, especially when they realize you're a newcomer. When they realize you're a newcomer, they clearly they can see how confused you are at a point. So people are really willing to help you. You just have to ask. Canadians are so far. I think they are very nice and very diplomatic. So even if they don't want to, they try and find a nice way to still be nice to, even if they don't want to be nice. Yes. So that's how the culture has been with food. Unfortunately, with where I'm staying, it's very far from an African market. So now my eating has become it's a bit dicey with
Okay.
my meals, but I think I should be fine since we are hoping to get to become Canadians. Maybe I have to start getting used to the Canadian food. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes, but so far so good. I'm just trying to be optimistic now and trying to remember why I decided to do this in the first place so that it motivates me not to give up. Yeah.
That's good. And that's good. And did you travel with all your proof of funds?
Yes, but I had withdrawn some because I needed money on me to make payments just in case. So I still came with pounds, but the banks are kind enough to change the money for you to
Okay.
Canadian dollars when you come. So I did that foreign exchange when I came.
Okay. So I think we've talked thoroughly about what happens post ITA. So what's your advice for those who want to undertake this journey? And maybe just summarize the whole conversation we've had.
Okay, so just to summarize everything, when you are creating your pool, just make sure that your proof you have proof for everything that you are stating. Don't lie because in the end you have to show proof for everything, your medicals, your police certificates, where you have lived. So make sure that everything you are saying is not a lie and is truthful and will be backed and can be backed up by certain documents. And also just don't be discouraged. I mean, I'm proof that this is possible. It's not a scam. It is possible. And if you are confused at any point, just make sure you ask. It's better to ask and get the information than to just make a mistake. And when you're going through the process, try and make use of these agencies that are funded by the government. The government understands how difficult it is for an immigrant to settle into the country. That's why they are pushing funds into these agencies to make sure that your settlement is an easy one or a smoother one. So make sure that you take advantage of these agencies and don't feel like just because you've read online you are okay. Sometimes they provide some information that you might not get elsewhere. So I really wish everyone who wants to embark on this journey the best. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's difficult at the start, but it is possible. People have gone through it, and that should motivate you to want to do it too, if you feel like this is the path for you. So I just wish everyone who wants to do this the very best. And I hope this information session was useful for you and was very encouraging to just aid your decision to decide to move to Canada. Yeah, it's scary, but you will be fine. Trust me, you will be fine. There's support. Yeah.
Okay, so Mamiya, thank you very much for agreeing to do this. If this video was helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. As usual, I'm rooting for you, so to hear from me again.